So today we're going to be looking at Daniel Larson's assignment. So as you all know, Daniel Larson is currently in college, and he's recently been showing off the assignments that he's doing in school. And I guess yesterday's lesson was on ancient Roman history. So today we are going to be looking at Daniel Larson's lesson on ancient Roman history. First image we got is Augustus in Tubustus. It's so hard to pronounce these names because they're trying to make like little, references to shit that I don't even know, you know what I mean? But the funny part is in the descriptions. He says this is the first openly gay emperor of the Roman Empire, constructed the Colosseum, leader in the Chinese-Roman War, would eat his enemies to gain health and vitality. Augustus was known for building the Great Wall of China and died of brain AIDS in 35 CE. So they're just giving this guy, like, they're fucking trolling the fuck out of Daniel right now, and he's so dumb that he doesn't even notice that they're fucking with him, you know what I mean? He doesn't notice this openly meme-esque thing going on, you know what I mean? They got these little fucking jokes. Julius Caesar salad. Known for being stabbed 150 times by security in Caesar Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada. Invented the Caesar salad. First leader of the United Nations. First person in the world to use pronouns. Destroyed 43 bathrooms in his lifetime due to irritable bowel syndrome. Julius Caesar was addicted to nicotine and eventually banished all nicotine and nicotine users to Mexico. So yeah, that's a fucking pretty insane shit, you know what I mean? And he's just taking this all in. He's like, yeah, I'm learning shit, fucking a random, one of his fucking fans might ask him, hey Daniel, what are you learning, you know what I mean? And he's like, obviously I don't mean actual fans, but you know what I mean, those people that fucking follow him around and give him money. And he's like, yeah, I learned that fucking Julius Caesar salad invented the Caesar salad, you know what I mean? It's like, fuck, what an idiot. We have Cleopatra, lover and wife of Julius Caesar, had an affair with Mark Antony, ruler of Egypt for 40 years, invented the wheel, known for having intercourse with the horse, spoke 18 languages, including the alien dialect of Mars, after recorded visits of the green people, as recorded in archaeology, a word, Jesus Christ, a word that I know and can't pronounce, history. Here's hermaphrodite, ruler of the Roman Empire between 45 CE and 200 CE. First emperor to legalize marijuana. Liberal. Enacted mandatory pronouns for Roman citizens. Conquered Napoleon Dynamite in battle in 72 CE. So they're just giving them fucking bullshit information. Transvestite. Okay, this one's pretty fucking off the rails right here. Ruler of the Roman Empire from 200 CE to 250 CE. A nickname was Buscemi. Invented the first volcano. Was a criminal and a arsonist. Trespassed from several infirmaries before his election. Founder of Viagra. Here's the laws of Rome. The first law, peeing alone is illegal. Second law, homosexuality was forced in the military to promote male bonding. That's something that Daniel Larson could get along with, I think. 3, fathers could legally murder their whole families. I think that's something Daniel Larson also could probably get along with. 4, rap music was banned. That's not good. I thought Daniel Larson was going to be a rapper. I don't want him to be, He wouldn't want to be banned from Rome. That's not good. Maybe he can make a fucking essay on why rap music should have been legalized in the Roman Empire. You know what I mean? The things that Rome's were allowed to eat were bread and spaghetti and meatballs. Makes sense. Roman punishments. We have whipping, brazen bull, and forced feminization. So yeah, they're just straight up fucking with Daniel like a motherfucker. And he's been doing this college arc for a while, man. They really got this fake professor on there teaching him about forced feminization and shit. Here's the gods of goddesses and goddesses of Rome. Venus, Hades, and Hermes. We have some more gods and goddesses of Rome: Cortanus, Poseidon, and Roganus. And it's a picture of fucking AI edit of Joe Rogan. So that's pretty fucking lit. Mythical places, and it shows like Pangea. Here's the Oliverus Gardenus. And it shows like some fucking Roman Colosseum or something. That's pretty fucking funny. How did he not catch on to that? Phil McCragen, and it's like some fucking another Roman Empire. And then it tells him to pick a famous name from below. Julius Caesar salad, Augustus, Imbot Bustus, Cleopatra, Nero the Great, Herobrine. They just threw Herobrine in there. PewDiePie, and they spelt it weird. And then Jeffrus Epstinius. So yeah, a Roman Jeffrey Epstein, I guess. That's what they're fucking teaching Daniel Larson. Jesus Christ, dude. They have this guy doing, like I said before, just fucking straight side quests, you know what I mean? They have Daniel Larson out there fucking learning about fake Roman empires and shit. There's not anything that they can't get this guy to do, you know what I mean? I mean, fuck, Daniel Larson has done every single thing. He's such a gullible little fuck, you know what I mean? Like, he just fucking gets these delusions in his head, and oh, there he is, he's off to fucking college, and it's fucking big ass waste of time. And these other people, do they not know that it also makes them seem like they don't have a life? They're coming up with fucking assignments for some homeless schizophrenic dude to do, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, he's a pedophile, so yeah. It's like, but what is this doing? Like, it's not fucking stopping him from doing anything. You're not keeping him off the streets, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me that people make that fucking, you know, they're like, oh yeah, he's a pedophile, so let's fuck with him. And it's like, to a certain extent, yeah, I think this is one of the more funnier ones, because it's like it's a little bit more like offhanded, you know what I mean? It's less direct, but it's also gotta take a good amount of work every day to fucking sit there with Larson and try to convince him that he's in a classroom, you know what I mean? It's gotta fucking be time consuming. Anyway, yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments. I think it's pretty funny. I just think it's like kind of you know, it's a lot of dedication, definitely. So hopefully they got like a whole team. If they're switching off, then I guess it's not that bad. It's not that bad of a thing, right? Maybe you can have like a group of like 5 friends get together, and it's like they kind of rotate. You know, you have Daniel on Monday, you have Daniel on Thursday, you have Daniel on Wednesday, you know what I mean, type thing. Maybe that'll work out. Who knows? You know, I don't like to think about what the fuck goes on in the minds of people that interact with Daniel Larson on a daily basis. Today we are going to be discussing Daniel Larson's UCLA lecture. It recently got released, but before we get into this video, if you could please like, comment, and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. It really helps in the algorithm. So yeah, let's just jump into this video, and I'll start off with the beginning.
You are in for a wild ride today. If you're gonna laugh, please mute your mic, because you're in for a special treat. A minute or two. I know that it's 5 o'clock, but I definitely want to give 1 or 2 more students the opportunity here. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad to see everybody's face again.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Today's going to be a very interesting class, and we're going to have our first assignment today, which will be a very fun assignment. This is something that many of my classes have done before, and they've really enjoyed doing this assignment. So, all right, there we go. That was all right. Here we go. This is the beginning of our presentation. A little bit of a technical error. So welcome back, guys. Obviously, I'm your professor, Mr. Chris D'Amato. So today we're going to talk about songs in general, what type of songs there are, and at the end of the class, we're going to look at producing a song. And for your class assignment, you guys are going to write lyrics to your very own song.
The fake professor starts off by saying to mute if you're gonna laugh. Now knowing what was shown in the lecture, I know why. Y'all are in for a treat with this one. Then everyone says good afternoon but Larson. Daniel is seen darting his eyes back and forth, seemingly being in public, sitting outside of a Sbarro pizza. His nose is also visibly dripping like a rusty faucet, and his hair is greasy enough to fuel the fires that he starts. And then the lecture begins.
So we have songs, right? Basic songs that artists release for their general fan base, right? So you look at people like Mariah Carey or Chris Brown, all of these famous people who just release songs for the sole purpose of the entertainment to their audiences, right? And their audiences enjoy them, right? I'm sure we all have our favorite song in here, right? Everybody has their favorite song. I'm actually curious. I'll ask, sure, Mr. Larson, thank you for volunteering.
I actually have 3 songs myself, and my favorite song is actually one of mine that I previously wrote. It's called Something More, and it's about a relationship that I had with my mother, and kind of how things kind of went downhill with my mother, and how I wanted something better in my life.
When the professor introduces the lesson, it seems like this troll has like a good grasp on how to come across professional. This seems to make Daniel even more comfortable, reinforcing their trolling and causing a hilarious juxtaposition of this professional sounding person saying some goofy ass shit. The beginning of the lesson is seemingly normal. Daniel even answers a question asked by the professor and gives the most Daniel Larson answer he can, as he states that his own song is actually his favorite.
Throughout this slideshow, I've made a list of all of the most famous musicals that have ever been produced, right? And the music that goes along with this. I know last week, one of you guys mentioned The Heathers, and The Heathers is a very, very popular musical. You have Wicked, Les Miserables, Hamilton, Cats, and 9/11 the musical. So these are examples of famous musicals that have been on Broadway for a very long time, right? TV shows, right? So the first show that I actually always watch is Hawaii Five-O. They have a great soundtrack, great music that goes along with the episodes. Next, we have How I Met Your Mother, right? I know some parts of my family actually watch that show, and it's very popular because of the music as well. Glee is, I don't know if anybody's seen Glee here before, but Glee is an amazing show. It's actually based on writing music and singing songs and doing covers, right? So if there's one show you should watch, it's Glee, right? And another TV show that actually won a Grammy for its musical production was Born This Way. My parents gave me brain aids.
Oh,
Yeah, I've seen that show. I think it's great.
Things start really going off the rails once the professor uses examples. It's some of the most funniest shit I've seen in a while, just proving even more how dense Daniel Larson is, with examples such as 9/11 the musical and Born This Way, my parents gave me brain aids. As the professor is reading these out, he's trying to suppress his laughter, blaming the noises that he's making on a cough. We can also hear his other classmates laughing as they chime in.
All right, next we have famous movies, right? Here's a list of famous, I've included a lot of Disney movies, so I'm struggling. Now we have famous singers, right? Now the people who sing these songs for these movies and TV productions and musicals usually become famous of what they contribute to these TV shows and movies, right? So you have artists like Ariana Grande, Juice WRLD, Mariah Carey, Bobby Flay, right? These are all famous people who've contributed to these types of songs, these types of productions, right?
Not once does Daniel bat an eye, taking all this information in willingly and openly, and I'm sure that Daniel now thinks that Lot Lizards is a Disney movie and Bobby Flay is a musical artist.
Obviously, different songs have different genres for different musical productions, right? Sometimes they use classical music. I've included a picture of Beethoven because he's obviously one of the most famous classical composers of all time. We have Ice J.J. Fish in pop. He is known as one of the most famous pioneers of creating EDM pop music. We have Jack Harlow. He's one of the most famous rappers today, hitting top 100 billboards almost every single week. And then we have Nature Sounds. Surprisingly, Nature Sounds top the charts at the most. You know why? Because people sleep to them all the time, and everybody needs to sleep at night, right? So Nature Sounds is one of the most popular genres of music.
We also have a moment where the professor goes over different genres of music with the picture of Ice JJ Fish being presented above the category of pop music.
So we have songs, right? Basic songs that artists release for their general fan base, right? So you look at people like Mariah Carey or Chris Brown, all of these famous people who just release songs for the sole purpose of the entertainment to their audiences, right? And their audiences enjoy them. Right? I'm sure we all have our favorite song in here, right? Everybody has their favorite song. I'm actually curious. I'll ask, sure, Mr. Larson, thank you for volunteering.
I actually have 3 songs myself, and my favorite song is actually one of mine that I previously wrote. It's called Something More, and it's about a relationship that I had with my mother. And kind of how things kind of went downhill with my mother, and how I wanted something better in my life.
Then we get to see some more of Daniel answering questions and putting some insight in, and you can tell in these answers how much Daniel really believes he's in class at UCLA, trying to sound as important as possible, using every gram of fentanyl left in his body to fuel his brain.
Yeah, any of y'all heard a rapper called Young Ballsack?
No, I have not.
He's from my block.
Oh
so,
yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah.
I know Jean.
Yeah. If y'all ever heard of him, he's from my corner. Like we both grew up in Connecticut. So if y'all ever heard of him, that's who. He my boy.
Anybody else have met someone famous or knows anybody famous? I saw that Mr. Larson had his hand up.
I actually have Taylor Swift's number, but I'm not going to go deep into it.
How do you know Taylor?
So I actually am employed by Columbia Records and LBI Entertainment, and I am dating the singer-songwriter Grace Vanderwall.
Then one of my favorite classmates of Daniel's by the name of Bobby Chode chimes in, asking if anybody knows a rapper called Young Ballsack. That had me rolling when I heard it. The mix between this guy's voice and his little avatar, it's just comedy gold. All of these people start coming forward saying that they know big celebrities, and this causes Daniel to mention how he has Taylor Swift's number, and in classic Daniel Larson fashion, he ends up explaining to everybody that he's this big musician, part of Columbia Records, and is dating Grace Vanderwall.
Hold on. My partner here right next to me, my dog. He's saying that Grace Vanderwall, she dating a brother. Like dead ass. Is he on cap shit or what? Like I thought she was dating a black man.
So that was actually from another movie. Pictures were taken and people started like saying that she was dating another man when that never happened. It was actually taken from a movie.
Mr. Chode later chimes in, actually giving Daniel some pushback, claiming that Grace is dating a black man. Daniel quickly denies this, saying that the pictures were from a movie and it was all a rumor.
Jimmy Code.
It's pronounced Chode.
All right. They're working with Webb, and Daniel Larson is working with Clark Hunter. All right.
Let's go.
So those were the assignments that I made for the class assignment, and let's just go over what this assignment entails, okay? So we have create the lyrics to a song about an experience that you've had in your life. This experience can be positive or negative. Now this song, these lyrics that you create for this song are going to be worth 100 extra credit points. The best song gets an immediate A+ on the assignment. So next class, what's going to happen is you guys are going to read your lyrics out loud, and then from that point on, we're going to get into writing the rest of the song and then creating the music for that song.
There's also another moment where Bobby Chode shines, where the professor pronounces his name Cody instead of Chode, and Jimmy corrects him in the funniest way possible. That's when it transitions into the songwriting portion, and the professor explains the assignment, stating some basic rules and guidelines. The assignment was stated to be due at the beginning of the next lecture, so I guess we'll have to wait until then to see Daniel's new song, but I'm pretty excited. It's going to be like an exclusive Daniel Larson track.
So to end this class, it was a new UCLA policy that we say the Pledge of Allegiance at the end of every class. So what's going to happen is I need you guys you don't have to have your camera on, but what I want you to do is if you do have your camera on, put your hand across your heart, and we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Would somebody like to lead the Pledge of Allegiance? The person who leads the Pledge of Allegiance gets 50 extra credit points. Who would like to do it? All right, guys. So that will be the end of the class. If you have any questions, this cold's killing me. Well, I just wanted to say, per UCLA policy, it's just important for you guys to have your mics on and say the Pledge of Allegiance. It's a new government act. We just got to make sure that everybody's doing it. Also, I did want to compliment Mr. Larson. You've done fantastic in this class so far. I'm very happy that you've joined us. And I look forward to what you do in this class because I'm very impressed with your performance so far.
Thank you.
Then the lesson ends with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Daniel doesn't turn his mic on, so the professor holds him after class and tells him that it's a new policy that everyone has to state the Pledge of Allegiance. The professor also compliments Daniel, further cementing his idea that this is all true. So yeah, that was Daniel Larson's lesson. It was nice to get a good peek inside what he's been learning and to sort of see how those interactions are going, not just by seeing his assignments, but seeing how he interacts through his classmates, his fake classmates and his fake professor. I thought it was pretty funny, and there were definitely some hilarious moments in there. But if you guys thought so too, make sure you leave a like and comment. Let me know what you guys think. Find it kind of sad now that Daniel's in jail, we aren't going to be getting any more of this college arc. But I'm sure once he's out, they're just going to go right back to trolling him. So it's nothing to be missing too much. You know what I mean? It's definitely something that will come back in the near future, and we'll definitely see more of the college arc later down the line in the Daniel Larson lore. There's definitely more to come. Last time we left off, Daniel learned about music and was trolled to oblivion with classmates like Jimmy Chode by his side, and examples such as 9/11 the musical being presented to him as he was none the wiser. So now we are back with another lecture, and I have some sad news for y'all. This was one of the last lectures before Daniel was locked away and discovered a new kind of chocolate hot dog as he lays behind cold steel bars. Just like last time, Daniel sits outside the very place he was arrested in, with the smell so strong it clears out the whole Sbarro pizza. I mean, it's not like anyone was going to eat there anyway, but that's besides the point. So we're going to watch Daniel take this lesson on ancient songs and see what he learned about in this episode of Learning with Larson.
All right, first off on the list, when I just call your name, say that you're here. All right, Bart Ryder.
I'm here.
Courtney Heck.
I'm here.
Daniel Larson.
Here.
Danny G. German.
Here.
Fletcher Cox. Jimmy Chu.
It's pronounced Chode, yo.
All right. And John Rockefeller.
Here.
Making his grand reappearance, we have the great Jimmy Chode, looking as great as ever. But the professor can't get my boy's name right. I don't know how, because everybody knows Jimmy Chode is part of the famous Chode family, creator of the shake weight, modeled after his father's, his arm.
All right. Thank you guys for being on time. Today, I thought that something that was relevant to the songwriting that I had you guys do for your assignment was going over just some quick history regarding the first songwriters and the songs involving that.
Finally, we get to hear Daniel Larson's great song. It's been a while since we got a new Daniel Larson track. This is sort of like when Cardi releases a new album. The hype is real, y'all. What do you guys think it's going to be about?
I'm just going to ask if everybody can see it.
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right, so towards the end of the class, I'm going to have everybody obviously go over their lyrics with what they wrote for the assignment. Obviously, the person who has the best lyrics
Sorry,
will
I'm
get
late.
100. That's fine, Mr. Hunter. We will be going over lyrics, as I said, and whoever has the best lyrics will be receiving 100 extra credit points. All right, an instant A+ for the assignment. But regarding the first songwriters, as you guys have written songs, and the first composers, right? So where did the first songs go? Where were they written, right? Well, the answer is in the Empire of Brazil, 2,500 years ago, right? Music is very, very old. Before the dawn of time, people were making noises and tunes, but the first official song was written in Brazil. All right. Now, who was the first songwriter? The first songwriter ever recorded in history was Chief Sleip Mahas.
Oh, yeah, I know Chief Slap My Ass. That's the chief who went to war with Chief Ligma Balls, chief of Mexico, first guy to work 2 jobs and have 12 kids.
Loved a lot of his songs, but the most important song that he ever wrote was this song right here. Now, the song was never given a title because of how old the song was, okay? So they didn't really put titles to music. Nowadays, when you go on Spotify, right, or Pandora, a lot of songs have titles, right? But back in the day, they didn't care for titles. It wasn't important to them, right? So the first lyrics to the first song ever written, it's obviously written in Portuguese here because that's the language that Chief Slap Mahas wrote in. But the lyrics go, "The sun is rising. I look down at my waist. There is a firm stick between my legs. It feels good to punch it," right? So he's really going into detail about his emotions in this song, right?
What a great song, and it's really relatable too. I mean, who doesn't like to punch their stick? I mean, I punch my stick while watching women's volleyball, the great sport of Brazil.
Even when we see the first song ever written, it's 2 verses and a chorus, right? So they're all interconnected in a way in their structure, right? Now, what about the first composer? Sir Ruben Madake. He was a medieval composer in Germany at the time. He was from Germany. This was a artist rendition of him. Very accurate because back in the day, a lot of people would get paintings of themselves. And archaeological evidence that we've found proves that he looked very much like this.
Ah, shit, rubbing my dick. That's a great musician. I love waking up in the morning to some good old rubbing my dick. This shit's just writing itself at this point, y'all. I'm sorry if I'm overdoing the puns, but god damn, these are some good ones this time.
All right. I went to the town. Actually, I'll have somebody read this, actually, since I read the last one. Would anybody like to volunteer for extra credit to read what is on the slideshow right now? Would anybody like to volunteer? Just
I would.
Okay, for sure.
Song by Ruben. I went to the town with a frown. The people laugh over me. It wasn't my fault, and I got hard. I got hard on the corner of Orphanage Street.
Fuck, this shit is so funny. He didn't even have to say that. That's not what the slide says, Daniel. It makes it so much more funnier. And the fact he repeats himself, geez, Daniel, I didn't know orphans made you hard, but it's probably because they're kids, right?
Now we're going to go over the lyrics from last week, all right? So what I'm going to do is I already laid out who's going to be reading first, right? You can add a tune to it. You can sing it out loud, or you can read it with a tempo. It's really up to you. So first I have Mrs. Danny G and Mr. John B. If you guys could present the lyrics that you wrote.
I think John is going to present them for us.
Okay, perfect.
Sure. So yeah, we wrote this song about my uncle who passed away in 9/11. So we got inspired from that, and yeah, I'll start us off now.
Okay.
I knew one day that love would sprout. Then came the day Osama blew us away. Osama blew them away. Then came the day Osama blew us away. Osama blew them away. Thank you, everyone.
Very good. Very, very good.
That was beautiful.
Now, does anybody have any comments
Damn, yo.
or suggestions?
Well, you said Osama was your uncle, right? Or is that just like a fictional name for him?
No, my uncle was not Osama. Osama blew my uncle away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So these guys give their songs. I'm gonna just leave it in because they say it's about 9/11 and it's pretty fucking funny. I think 9/11 might be one of the greatest jokes from the worst tragedies. Of course, 9/11 itself isn't funny, but the juxtaposition is what makes the whole thing pretty good content. Especially when Clark asked if his uncle was Osama, completely ignoring the whole fucking point of the song.
My only criticism for the song, and the reason why I say this is because my old music producer that I actually work with here in Denver is a multi-Grammy award winner, and he told me that the lyrics have to be set up like a poem, but also they have to rhyme, and the rhyming has to also create rhythm along with the song.
Daniel always acts like he knows so much. It's hilarious. He says the most basic information, and it's like, yeah, sure, it might be true, but anyone with ears and a brain can tell you that music fucking rhymes.
I pulled it up here. So we don't really have a title for the song. I strictly believe that the song itself, once it's done, creates the title. But the lyrics for the song are about loneliness and wanting help in a situation. And then we kind of created like imagery with being like traveling and being lost. The lyrics go: sunlight in the windows, gleaming in the air. Shadows dance around without a care. The taste of beer down my throat, ready for the open road. In the outback, time travels on. Reflection wasted, how life went wrong. Savannah dunes, wind through my hair, remembering life without a care.
Daniel Larson, more like Daniel Barson. But not really, because that shit was ass. Like, it's so boring. Daniel, you really want that extra credit, don't you? I was kind of hoping Daniel would just write a song about Grace Vanderwall or something, but this is just a ticket to Yap City. I mean, Jesus, you critique the other guy, but your song is shit, dude.
Regarding the song to help improve it.
Professor, I think you're glazing right now. Like, me personally, I can't relate to any of those lyrics. Like for real, Daniel, I think if you want to become a more better artist, you got to start talking about like bitches and money spreads and trapping and stuff like that. Cause like, I didn't find no inspiration from those lyrics. You gotta step your game up. I feel like you need to diversify your portfolio. You feel me?
I will take that into consideration.
Great take again from Jimmy Chode. We love to see it. Of course, Mr. Chode is able to see through Daniel's shitty lyrics and imagery. If Daniel wants to be a rapper like he says he was, he's gotta stop talking about sand dunes and start rapping about Grace and all the stacks he gets from Bob.
Shake that ass for Jimmy.
Yeah. Hey, I still got some love deep inside of me. No need to lie to me. I know you got a guy. He's not a guy to me. Just say goodbye to him, then take a ride with me. I still got some love deep inside of me. Please drag it out of me. Rolly gang, Patty gang, rich baby daddy gang. I'm at a Cincinnati game. Hood bitch, tatter gang, for she tatter name. Bend it over, only time she turn it back on me for real.
All right. Very, very good. Those are some very good lyrics. Definitely some emotion behind that.
Then Jimmy starts spitting bars. Daniel can't even tell homie is rapping a song that's already out. It's funny as fuck. You think Daniel's on TikTok enough to recognize a famous song, but I guess not, because he's just completely oblivious the whole time.
Anybody have any comments or suggestions regarding the song of Jimmy and Courtney?
I thought it was pretty good. My only criticism is that I feel like the song, the lyrics sounded empty and over repetitive, saying the same thing over and over and over again with not enough creativity to match the other bits and pieces that were being thrown in.
To put it blunt, it was boring.
Hey, listen up, Clark. You over there eating shrimps with wimps. I'm eating lobster with the mobsters, all right? This is the only time I'm going to be putting game on lanes.
I love when Daniel puts his 2 cents in. Homie says he thought the song was pretty good, then completely trashes the whole thing after. Don't ever step to Jimmy Chode. You're gonna end up in a body bag, thrown inside the dumpster outside the shake weight factory. Don't think it's a game, Daniel.
I liked the variety of the lyrics and the imagery. I felt like it was kind of bland a little bit, and I would like a little bit more creativity as well.
Okay, thank you for your input, Daniel.
Daniel loves to critique others, but his lyrics were straight dog shit. They made no sense. He gave some chat GPT ass lyrics, talking about bullshit. I'd rather listen to whatever song this guy's plagiarizing than your bullshit, Daniel.
Within my class, but the tie that I have for both lyrics is between Mr. Larson and if I could find his name, and Jimmy. So that is the tie that I have for both students.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel, I'll see you in a rap battle. We'll break this tie.
All right,
we'll
so
go
this
band
is
for band.
Okay.
Finally, Jimmy finally declared a rap battle with Daniel. I don't think we'll ever get to see it, but damn, think about how fucking fire that would be. Daniel rapping about grace and dining and dashing. It would be pure gold.
Okay, all right, but this is how we're gonna break the tie, and this comes into our next assignment. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to create the actual music for your song until Friday. All right, so you guys have from today until Friday to come up with a song or like a beat or a melody to the lyrics you've created. I will be awarding today. Mr. Larson has received a total of 60 extra credit points today. Mr. Chu has received 50 extra credit points today. And next week, just because that there is a tiebreaker, that is when I will decide between the two songs and whoever getting the extra 100 extra credit points. All right.
Hey, last time, get my name right, Teach. It's Chode, you heard?
All right, I apologize. Now, would anybody like to? Does anybody have any questions regarding this?
My only question is, where and how are we going to come up with the beat?
So now Daniel is tasked with learning how to make a beat and completing his song. I have a feeling he's gonna fold. Either that or he'll steal something off the internet. Either way, we're in for a treat on the next episode of Learning with Larson, which I believe is the last, and then there's also a debate. So we're coming close to the end of this series. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. And it'll probably continue when Daniel gets out. He'll want to go right back to UCLA. That was one of his main concerns after going to jail. So we'll see what happens in the future. It's been a while since we talked about Daniel Larson, folks. Last we saw of Daniel, he was in court and got his bail reduced. He was also forced to take a psychological evaluation, and rumor is he might end up in a mental institution. To get you up to speed, before Daniel got sent to jail, he was tricked into going to college classes by a buddy troll named Clark. We've been reacting to these videos for some time now, so if this is something that interests you, I got tons of videos to go over learning with Larson. Now we're back again to look over one of Daniel's final classes before he went to jail, and y'all, this one's pretty crazy.
So today we're going to be talking about Chinese history, so let's get started, all right? So the first emperor of Imperial China was Tao Chen Maidek. He was the first emperor of Imperial China, and he invented fortification. So let's talk about the first empress of Imperial China, right? So you had the first emperor. Now what about the first empress of Imperial China? Her name was Mi Kuchi Ich. She was a famous empress, and she actually invented basketball. Modern day basketball is much different from the ancient version of basketball in which Chinese peasants played, but she was responsible for coming up with the concept of basketball.
So again, we got the fake names, To Chin Mi Dik and Mi Kuchi Ich, you know, the famous emperor and empress of China. You think Daniel would recognize the first one, considering the numerous videos of him partaking in the same act with the aid of a toothbrush, but I guess he's too busy tweaking out to notice. I mean, homie's not even at the Sbarro this time. He's just straight up walking outside.
Has anybody ever heard of Mi Kuchi Ich before?
Yes, Professor.
Yes.
This is how.
Whoever's
Please
singing.
mute your microphone.
Microphone. Cheng, you might have a little bit of insight since you're from China. If you'd care to explain. All right, I guess not.
This whole call has been a dumpster fire so far. Daniel's just outside walking about. This girl just randomly starts singing. Like, it's pretty good, don't get me wrong, but it's really not adding anything. Then a new character, Chang, who's obviously just some white dude doing a fake Asian accent, leaves the professor hanging. It's all like a fever dream. Truly only something that can exist in the bounds of the wacky world of Daniel Larson.
All right, anyway. We're going to move on to the first president of Imperial China, right? So the emperors of ancient China changed over into presidents in the 20th century, right?
Then homie starts talking about the president of China, Sucky Fucky or something like that. Honestly, the slides are really boring this time. The names are super obvious. There's like no subtlety, but it shows how delusional Daniel is because you can tell on this one they didn't even try to hide the blatant trolling. But the true fun starts in this next clip, folks. Don't leave just yet.
So sorry. I'm walking home from a very important meeting with a government official. I want to answer your last question about emperor.
Empress Mi Kuchi Ich.
Yes, Professor. He introduced many cultural phenomenon like many festival and important implementations to our country.
Excuse me, can I ask who this government official is? Is it from the US or is it a Chinese government official? Just curious.
Excuse me, Mr. Larson, none of your business.
Okay, sorry for the question. I didn't mean to.
Of course, Daniel hears the Chinese government and bells start ringing in his head. Daniel might be an artist at heart, but he's always commander-in-chief first. President Larson sprang on that shit quicker than Jupiter sprang on little children after a long night with his vape pen. You know, because of the nicotine.
Next, the last person we're going to learn about is the first female president of Imperial China, right? So she was the last president or person in charge of Imperial China. Her name was So Horni. She was the first woman to actually eat 6,000 bowls of rice in one sitting. So it was pretty impressive.
Oh my god, he laughed.
Jesus Christ, they didn't even try this time. I mean, I was joking last time with the sucky fucky shit, but really y'all, me so horny? You couldn't come up with anything a little less on the nose? Either way, it's a good look into how dense Daniel can be, but he's probably too distracted thinking about Chinese government. They triggered his schizophrenia, y'all.
Government official. And I found out because I said, do you mind me asking what government is Chinese or U.S.? And he said, none of your business, Daniel fucking person. At that point, the teacher kicked him out of the class. And what I find suspicious, the guy in the class, that straight up in the middle of the class said that I do not support Black Lives Matter and that I'm a communist in front of the entire class, to the point to where they kicked both people out. And then at the end of the class, I opened up in front of everyone else and said that I believe that I am being followed. And I, as we know, live in Colorado. And the teacher of the class admitted that the Chinese government is collaborating with UCLA over how they do their operation. That's what the teacher told me. And he said the Chinese government is in black Nissan Ultima.
This call gives us an amazing look into how Daniel can manipulate something in his mind to fit his agenda. I mean, look at how much he's embellishing this interaction. I do believe Daniel might actually think he's being followed, but I find it hard to believe that he thinks the guy Chang was aggressive towards him during their short interaction. I love how Larson League tries to save their ass with this highly racist production they held. I mean, it's whatever, but just own it. They say Daniel's lying about shit we later see, as the teacher did say the Chinese government was in UCLA. We also hear Clark tell him this in the initial jail phone call, so it just doesn't make sense they're trying so hard to cover their ass instead of owning their blatant racism. I'm going to cut out a large portion of this next part because it gets extremely racist and mentions a certain virus that's a risky topic on YouTube, but trust me, it's not really that funny. It's some 2020 humor type shit.
Archaeological record proves that dragons have actually existed in ancient China. So let's talk about traditional Chinese.
Yo, my friends Deuce and Boner, they said they swore they saw a dragon over Baltimore one time. I don't know, believe them because they're a couple knuckleheads, but.
So let's talk about traditional Chinese naming, okay? So you've heard the names before from in the beginning, but the Chinese typically use pots and pans, and the sound.
Yeah, honestly, he's like laughing and shit.
I'm sorry, my wife just knocked over a dresser in my room. She was walking by and knocked it over. I was not expecting that, but I'm sorry for being distracted here. The Chinese typically use pots and pans, and the sound of throwing these pots and pans. Babe, why are you?
Classic joke. I remember this one on the lunch table in 3rd grade. I mean, back in the day it was kind of funny, and I get why the professor laughed. In a sense, it's so ridiculous telling Daniel Larson this as if it's real information, but I think the joke itself is kind of meh. I've heard it, but the fact Daniel is taking this information without batting an eye is pretty funny. And I can see why the professor is breaking at this moment. I like how he tries to cover it up so horribly. I mean, come on, man. How long can you have a cough for? And damn, that guy sounds fucking dumb. I know it's a character, but Jesus, Deuce and Boner? What are you, stupid? You think Daniel isn't going to catch on to you? He might be dumb, but he's not completely brain dead. He knows when somebody's blatantly fucking with him. And you'll see that later in the call as Daniel gets fed up and just leaves.
This is not the first time that I've seen it. It's been
Was it a
following
Nissan Altima?
me for 2 months. Yes. And it might be a government vehicle.
So actually currently the Chinese government is sending a delegation to UCLA. It's just for education purposes. I know that they have some pretty important students at UCLA at this time. I don't think it's anything related to you, But I know that the Chinese government is currently in the area because they are sending students and they are checking out UCLA as a whole. I can't speak on your experience, but I know that a few of the Chinese government officials who have at least shown up in Los Angeles have been in black Nissan Altimas, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure where you're located, Mr. Larson, but if you're not in Los Angeles, it may be unrelated.
Like I said, whoever orchestrates these calls, whether it's Larson Leak or Clark, they're most definitely making it seem as though the Chinese government is messing with Daniel and adding racist undertones to their trolling. I suspect it's Clark, but why would Larson Leak even release the call if they're gonna pussy out so much, adding some disclaimer in the beginning and in the description? Just own it. So folks, things are in motion in the Daniel Larson universe. He's opened up 2 new accounts, started speaking on his experience in jail, and is even opening an investigation on Clark due to the fake UCLA classes. But before we get into all that, I wanted to first take a look at this sighting of Daniel where he looks like a crackhead Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, or like Big Bird on heroin. He's so lanky and greasy, he looks like a sleep paralysis demon. He's got the same drip as a 7-Eleven crackhead. And it's wild that at this point, Daniel has become such a big deal to see that people pull out their phones to record or to take a photo for clout. It's not smart. This photo I can let pass. It was definitely taken from a distance without Daniel seeing, but I feel like this is starting to become a concerning trend, and we should always remember not to poke the bear and do what this guy does: view from a safe distance. Alright, so now I wanted to talk about the new TikToks Daniel posted today. I'll play them for y'all now. So far Daniel has only posted 2 videos today, and the rest of the content has either been text posts or comments.
Hello everyone. Last night I got a hotel room. Okay, so it is March 2024 and I got my probation in Boulder County reinstated for another year.
Back to the classic Daniel Larson content. Just stating things we already know as if it's news and begging for things online. This is a very common theme with Daniel. He'll be heavily focused on obtaining a hotel room for the night or finding his next meal. Those are always Daniel's main goals. But there's also a multitude of other things Daniel quote unquote needs. In a string of text posts, Daniel outlines some of these things, which include another hotel room for the night, new clothes, and lastly, a haircut. Daniel always has to let his fans know what he needs, and they're often happy to help him. But lately we've also seen the reintroduction of Bob, Daniel's mentor who helps him financially. Now this isn't surprising as Bob has been having contact with Daniel from a distance, but it seems that Bob is back in Daniel's life again fully. Although this could also be another one of Daniel's lies. In the comments of his YouTube shorts, a user asked Daniel, is it true you went under breast reduction surgery? To which Daniel replies 3 times, writing the following: not true, I'm at a Nuggets game, and lastly, Bob won't let me in the car. We can only hope this isn't true and is just another one of Daniel's schizo posts, but who knows. Like I mentioned earlier, someone also reached out to Daniel doing a sort of troll within a troll. Trollception, one could say. This comment comes from an account with the name Mike Ockle UCLA. He states, "Hey Daniel, I'm reaching out on behalf of UCLA. We are worried about your enrollment status as a student. You have not attended your classes for a number of weeks, have not served your duties after winning the student council election, and now we are learning that you are homeless and a criminal. Simply put, we cannot have somebody of your lifestyle attending a prestigious institution like UCLA. We have also learned that you have been attending fake online courses with a man named Clark and his friends. UCLA does not offer online classes, and Clark has been registered as a terrorist and is not allowed within the state of California. He has been trolling you. Please reply so that we can get in touch and discuss these urgent matters. Signed, Mike Ock, UCLA Dean." To which Daniel replies, "I will open an investigation into Clark." Another user also states, "Daniel, I have a question. I watched all your UCLA college videos on Larson Leak. Do you really believe in giants?" To which Daniel replies, "I do," and then emergency. So it's safe to say Daniel knows the UCLA classes were fake, but I'm sure they'll find a way to keep trolling him. I mean, look at this fake UCLA YouTube page. It's already trying to double troll him.